What's going on? Jun with the Sushi Man, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make one of my all-time favorite Japanese appetizer dishes, and that is Chawanmushi. Chawanmushi is a Japanese steamed egg custard that's savory, umami packed, and has a silky smooth texture. I used to think that making Chawanmushi was super difficult, but once you get the concept down, it's actually quite easy, and I'll show you exactly how in this video. Alright, without further ado, let's get right into it. So starting off with our egg mixture ingredients. First, we'll need 2 large eggs, and then we have some dashi stock, which I like to make my own typically, but if you're in a hurry or just want to keep this recipe super simple, you can use instant dashi powder instead. Now, the amount of dashi depends on how much the eggs weigh. Basically, we need it 3 times the amount of dashi compared to that of egg, so a 1:3 ratio. And we're going to use metric measurements since that'll keep the calculations much easier, as it usually does. And don't worry, I'll take you step by step through this process later when we start prepping. Okay, next we need some mirin, soy sauce, and a little bit of salt. Alright, now for the rest of the ingredients, we're going to use 1 chicken thigh, some shrimp, a little bit of sake to marinate both of them, some shimeji mushrooms, kamaboko, and then some green onion and ikura for garnish. And that's it for our ingredients. Now let's move on to our prep. Alright, first let's make our egg mixture. So as I mentioned earlier, we need to weigh our eggs to find out the right amount of dashi that we need. Large eggs are typically about 45 to 60 grams each. These are a tad bit on the smaller side, so I have 102 grams total. Now let's multiply that by 3 and we get 306. And that's how many milliliters of dashi we'll need. Now we're going to mix the eggs, and we want to mix it well, but try not to create too much foam or bubbles. Then we add our dashi, and then the mirin, soy sauce, and salt. Now we're going to give this a good mix again until the salt fully dissolves. Next, we strain this through a fine sieve into a bowl or a measuring cup. Oh, biscuits. Well, lost some of it, but now our egg mixture is done. Okay, moving on to our fillings. First, we're going to trim our chicken and then cut them down to about 1-inch squares. Now we're going to add a little bit of sake to marinate the chicken. Now we do the same thing with the shrimp. Okay, for the shimeji mushrooms, we're just going to cut off the bottom and then just break them apart. Next, the kamaboko, we're just going to cut 6 thin slices. And then lastly, the green onion, I'm just going to cut some thin slices for garnish. Alright, now let's start assembling our chawanmushi. First, let's quickly go over the cups you'll need. Traditionally, there's these small cups with lids that are specifically made for chawanmushi. You can find them at Japanese markets or Amazon carries some as well. They're cute and all, but you don't really need them. I use regular teacups that are about the same size, and they work perfectly well. Plus, they're much more budget friendly. I got these off Amazon for like 20 bucks for a set of 4, and they're great. You can also use coffee mugs or other types of teacups that are made to withstand heat, which most coffee mugs and teacups are. Alright, first we're going to add the chicken to the bottom of the cup. Now the shimeji mushrooms. And then 1 shrimp in each. And lastly, the kamaboko on top. Next, give the egg mixture a light mix and then pour it into the cup slowly. Now we want to make sure there are no bubbles in the mixture so that it creates that smooth consistency. You can either pop them with a skewer, or if you have a kitchen torch, you can simply run it over the top really quick and it'll get rid of all those tiny bubbles. Okay, lastly, we're just going to cover these with aluminum foil. Alright, time to start steaming. First, add water into a large pot so that it comes to about halfway up the cups. For my cups, that's about 2 inches or so. Now start boiling the water over medium-high heat. Once the water is boiling, turn it down to a low simmer and then carefully put in the cups. Then we close the lid, but leave a slight gap so that it doesn't get too hot in there. Now we gently steam this for about 20 to 25 minutes. Alright, it's been about 20 minutes, so let's check to see if it's done. Ooh, look at that. That's looking good. So what you want to check here is the consistency of the egg. If it's still runny and hasn't solidified yet, then cook it for a bit longer. You can check by carefully tilting the cup to see if it's set or not. And you also want to check the color of the liquid, which should be clear. Alright, these are done, so we're going to carefully take them out with a pair of tongs. And the last step is the garnishing. And there you have it. Authentic chawanmushi easily made at home. Now you don't have to wait till you go to a fancy Japanese restaurant to enjoy this super satisfying dish. And remember, you can easily swap out the ingredients to your own liking. Trust me, once you get this down, you're going to want to make it all the time. Alright, that's about it for me. Thanks for watching, and as always, feel free to leave me any questions or comments below. I'll see you on the next one. Arigatou gozaimasu. Alright. いただきます。ああ、うまっ。So good.